Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this Monday, the 13th of May 2019, where I, Dakian, will ramble at you for a while about my miniatures. And this sort of jumble of stuff is the remaining 8 of the Orlok Nation set of minis for alchemy. They're not quite as pale as the box art. There's a little bit more color to them. I went with bronze, or, well, it looks kind of more like copper here, doesn't it? For the metals, because some of them have flint-tipped spears. It's quite obvious that this is stone. So I thought they shouldn't have iron. Yeah, so all the other metal is bronze or copper. This was not. I don't know what color this was. What paint I used for this, honestly. It doesn't look like my usual bronze color. Was I testing some other paints? Oh well. Anyway, so there's 3 of these axe dudes, which are slightly larger and beefier and have beards and hair. And there's 3 of the spearmen who are skinnier and hairless. And as you can tell, I haven't bothered straightening the spears. It's just not worth it. And then we have 2 shamans, alchemists they're called in alchemy probably. Well, magic users. And they have a lot of feathers on them. In this case, this guy, he has a feather cloak which turns into birds. I hope it comes across that down here it is feathers, but up here it's actual birds, like ravens or crows or something, that are like coming out of his cloak. I'm imagining that his cloak is normally just made of feathers, but then he's summoning like birds out of it somehow that he's going to throw out as enemies. Yeah. So, as you can tell, roughly painted, speed painted, but you know, it's cheap resin tabletop minis. I didn't feel like going the extra 9 yards for them. Especially, I didn't bother doing much with the feathers. They just look very basic. Anyway, moving on. So these guys I'm pretty pleased with. They're accurate representations of their analogs, I think. Especially the Asterix analog. I've used pretty much exactly the same colors. Now this water bottle, the canteen on her belt, is not usually present in the Asterix artwork, but I just used colors that were in other parts of the model. I used the brown from the boots and the green from the belt, and so I put that together. Now with the Obelix-like figure, I had to take some liberties. Now first off, the belt is so studded with these studs, plates, whatever, that in the original it's like Asterix belt. It's just like 3 circles. What are they called? Whatever, buckles or whatever, and the belt is green. But here, there's not really any room to show any color underneath that. I just had to paint dark. So, but she has this sort of bandeau across her boobs, which Obelix, of course, doesn't have. He's bare-chested. So I painted that the green instead. Now for the pants, you will, if you've seen Obelix any time, you know that he has more stripes on his pants and thinner stripes. However, if you look closely at those pictures, he has really tiny, stubby legs, and most of the pants that you see are actually covering like the lower half of his big belly. or lower 2/3. And that's a huge area where you can show a lot of relatively thin stripes. Wouldn't work on this model. And so I've just gone with a few broad stripes. And again, I took some inspiration from the artwork, where again on the relatively small legs of Obelix, he only has like 2 colors on each leg, and it is in fact divided up this way. It's not like just blue on the outside, white inside, or the other way around. It's actually white, blue. So, which I think is a more interesting look than if I had done it like symmetrical. This break with symmetry, I think, is fine. Is kind of, well, it looks good. I've also gone with some pretty heavy black lining. I don't normally do that, but here there's very obvious black lining. Well, it's perhaps not as obvious on the Asterix model because it's so dark anyway. There's and half of the surface is black, but I think you can see clear black lining on this one. And what else? Well, the cartoony, really bright yellow and bright red hair colors. I think that's because it's based on a comic book. And yeah, overall, a really fun project. I added some flowers to the base because even though these were resin bases with stuff molded into them, I felt they looked a little dark and plain at the end, so I just added these little shrubs with flowers on them for some more brightness and color. But yeah, these are some of the most fun minis I've hit in a while. Here we've got the ladies in resin, which have been slightly started. A little bit of skin tone here on them. This is just preliminary work. Some undercoating of the metals and the bases. I'm actually thinking of doing something different with the skin tones here. Well, not this one. This one will be just a standard mini. This one, since it's kind of a, I don't know, some sort of evil sorceress, necromancer thing, going really pale, perhaps kind of ashen skin, and tone down the pink or reddishness of it, and just go for, like, you know, gray or blue-gray shading. You often see artwork where people do that, paintings. I'm not sure how well it works in miniature, but I'll give it a shot. For this one, she's really strange in that she is carrying 2 huge weapons, a sword and an axe, that are both like really two-handers, realistically speaking. And she's using them in one hand each. So she has to be stronger than she looks. And so I'm starting to think she's not actually human. Maybe she's... and that's why I kind of added the green to the hair. Maybe she's something like, I don't know, Merid? A sea creature? So I'm thinking adding some blue tones to her skin would perhaps be the way to go. We'll see. We'll see what I do. Not sure yet. Anyway, those 3 are, as you can see, in the pipeline. So here's the other stuff I've prepped. For painting the coming week, we have the Incubi from Hassle-Free. Just in all their naked glory. Just showing off here. And, you know, really showing off. except the big brute who doesn't really care what anyone thinks of him. And then we have the ones that I intend to bring to the store tonight to paint. First off, we have this hassle-free mini, and we have the Reaper mini. Now I didn't attach the wings. I kept them separate because yeah, it'll cover up too much. So I'm just gonna paint the figure and the inside of the wings, attach the wings, and then paint the outside of the wings. So I mentioned last time, I think, that I had a theme in mind for these. And the theme I have is Marvel. I'm thinking Captain America and Iron Man. I'm going to try to... I can't, because the pattern of the clothing is not exactly the same, so I can't have exactly the same pattern in the colors, but I'll do something very similar. That is the plan. We'll just have to see how it pans out. And oh, by the way, the assembly was relatively easy. This is just a simple pin from the hand into the arm there. This thing is pinned at the shoulder. There is a pin in her foot holding her up, so she's standing on her toes there. There's a pin here, of course, which will attach the wings. The front of the hair was a separate piece. Hopefully you can't see the join too well. It's somewhat hidden. And I'm going to paint the hair a really dark color to disguise it even more. Yeah, that was tricky, getting it to stick at the right place. But anyway, upwards and onwards. For my next few tricks, first off, I want to do a couple of character minis for my next store painting evening projects, and I picked out a couple of miniatures from companies that I haven't painted in a while. The first one is from Harwood Hobbies. This is called Zokura the Sorcerer. He's a magic user in some fancy robes, multi-layered robes. He's a baldy. He's pointing at something, warning them, maybe. And he's clenching a fist there, like he's going to martial arts punch someone, maybe cast a spell. You know, just your average interesting sorcerer. And then we have from Statuesque Miniatures, which makes kind of pulp style minis, mostly. Commissar Vespera Venko, and this is a female trench-coated figure with a machine pistol and choice of heads. Now, I'm not sure if you can tell. Oh, it's the other way around here. No? No, this is this way. Right, so you can get either a normal head or a gas mask head. I think I know which one I'm gonna have to go with. Yeah, the gas mask. That'll be cool. Anyway. Yeah. So, prepping those for next week. And for painting at home, well, I think it's about time we finished off this alchemy project. So, this is the fourth and final faction, the Kaliman Republic, which, as you can see, are cat people. They are kind of, I don't know, Middle Eastern, North African cat people. They have these sort of desert outfits. This is the starter box. There is the starter add-on, which has 3 more. There's 5 in the starter, 3 here. And there is 1 more add-on with 2 minis called the Malik Meherists. I don't know. So there's only 10 figures total in this faction. This is just the smallest faction. There seems to be fewer of the actual alchemists. I'm not sure which ones are intended to be the magic users. Well, I think this one here, of course, is. I'm not sure if any of the others look like they could be the magic users. Oh well, since I'm not playing the miniatures game, it doesn't really matter to me. Now, the challenging thing here is that despite there being only 10 minis, at least here they've painted them all in almost all in different fur shades. So this one has leopard spots, this one's painted like a tiger, and these three are not patterned, but they're different, slightly different colors. This one is like tawny, this one is black, and this one is something dark in between. And again, these three are all slightly different. We got a dark brown, a sort of lighter reddish brown with the white spots, and a black one. And these are, well, these are pretty similar. They're painted like cheetahs, both of them. So if I want to replicate that, that's going to take some time. It's going to take some doing. And that's a little bit of a challenge, really. I've never, well, I've made a few attempts at painting stuff like tiger stripes and leopard spots. I'm not sure I feel they have gone over really, really well, but yeah, okay. You live and you learn. You gotta try something new, and we'll see what I do with these. And finally, this week I have received a package in the mail with some mini-related stuff. This is from a company called Green World Stuff, which is located in Spain, actually. And the most important thing I got out of this was this. A light box. See, I've had a lot of trouble trying to find good ways to take pictures of my minis, and so I decided to go for it. And this seemed like a very simple and lightweight solution, and also relatively inexpensive. So as you can tell, I'm not unpacked this. It's not supposed to be white. This is just a bag to hold it in, I presume. And I have no idea how this is going to work. And I received this today, so I've not had time to unpack it and test it. So the pictures you're going to see after this are taken in my old way, just my old crappy technique. But next week, hopefully, if I get this thing up and running, you'll get some better pictures. Or, yeah, you know, more professional looking. That's my hope. So, what else was in here? Well, I got some green stuff, because it's Green Stuff World. You always need more green stuff. I got a kind of technical paint, a blood effect paint I want to try out, because, well, I don't want to pay money to Games Workshop. And well, you know, I mean, the Tamiya Clear Red I use is good, but it's a little bit messy and finicky to work with. So, well, we'll see. And finally, I got this, which is also for taking pictures. Simply a rotating days. Let's see. I was maybe a little disappointed when it's not powered, but it was extremely cheap, so I suppose I couldn't have expected something like that. I mean, it would have been nice if there were batteries in it and it would turn on its own, but no, you have to rotate it manually. So it has slightly limited use, but still, it's a thing. Now I have it. Yeah. So that was everything this week. And by the way, I'm still waiting on Bones 4 from Reaper. They clarified in a post that the reason some people in the EU have gotten their stuff is that they shipped stuff in 2 containers over the Atlantic. One of them arrived on the 1st of May, May 1st, and it's stuff from that container that's been shipped out. Like one of my friends has received his shipment, for example, but I know other people who have not received theirs, and that's because there was a second container. It's set to arrive the 13th, that is today. I haven't heard anything about it arriving in port quite yet, but I'm hopeful that it will arrive at their warehouse this week, and they'll ship it out this week, and it will get to me by next week, perhaps. Which means not next Monday. That's too optimistic. I don't think that's going to happen. But maybe the Monday after next Monday. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, that was the episode. I hope you had fun. Click like, subscribe, share, comment, and I'll see you again in a week. Same time, same channel. Till then, I'm Dakian, and I'm signing off.